Hi everyone, my name is Henk and welcome back to the channel. So recently Tesla has been dominating the news once again on back of the news that Tesla is to be added to the S&P 500 index on the 21st of December of 2020. So in this video, I'm going to look at what does this actually mean and will the stock go up or down? And should you hop on the hype train right at this moment? Or is it a little bit too late to hop on the hype train and you should wait for the stock to calm down a bit before purchasing the stock? And this is what we're going to look at in this video. At the point of addition of the Tesla stock, it will become a top 10 stock in terms of market cap on the S&P 500. So with its around $460 billion market cap, it should sit roughly somewhere between Berkshire Hathaway, which is on number 7, and Visa, which is on number 8. And the values change around a little bit, but Tesla is looking to sit around that area. Tesla will also be the largest company to be ever newly added to the S&P 500 index. And so this is something that's completely unprecedented. Back in September of 2020, Tesla first had the opportunity to be added to the S&P 500, but it was not chosen by the selection committee. So in order to be part of the S&P 500 index, you need to have a company that has 4 consecutive quarters of making a profit. And Tesla has fulfilled those terms, but it wasn't included in September. Back in September, the 3 companies that were added were Etsy, Catalent, and Teradyne. So those companies were significantly smaller than Tesla, but the committee chose to add them instead of Tesla. Back in September, when news came out that Tesla wasn't going to be included in the S&P 500, they had a massive 20% drop in their share price. But this time, when news came out that they will be included in the S&P 500 index, their shares had a massive 13% increase in a day after the news came out. This is interesting again because the giant price fluctuation are simply brought by news that's coming out, and not particularly because that the company had any fundamental changes to the company itself. And we can see how news has significant effects on the Tesla stock price by when Elon Musk tweeted out a tweet that their share price is too high, which again suddenly sent the price of Tesla to a giant decline. I wanted to find out what will happen to the Tesla stock after it's been added to the S&P 500. And in order to find that out, I wanted to look at some of the companies that have been recently added to the S&P 500 this year, and also compare that with some of the companies that have been removed from the S&P 500 as comparison. The first immediate result of Tesla being included into the S&P 500 is that many index fund managers would be forced to buy Tesla stock when they rebalance their index portfolios. Currently, there's over $11 trillion in assets benchmarked to the S&P 500 index, with more than 4.6 trillion of that in terms of index funds. Because Tesla is a large cap company, up to maybe 1% of that $4.6 trillion in terms of index fund may go into purchasing of Tesla stocks. And surely this will cause the share price of Tesla to skyrocket, right? In order to find out what happens to a company's share price when it gets introduced to the S&P 500, I had a look at some of the companies that were introduced this year. So one of them is Etsy. So Etsy was introduced in September this year, and right after its introduction to the S&P 500, it had a massive spike in the volume of the stock being traded. However, it does not have a massive effect on the actual price of the company's shares on that particular day. Overall, Etsy stock has kind of gone up and bounced around a bit, but overall, its share price has increased in the couple months after it has been included into the S&P 500. Another company that's been included into the S&P 500 this year is Dominos Pizza, and they were included back in May of 2020. And again, we see a giant spike in the amount of the volume being traded of the Domino's stock. However, it didn't, again, have a particularly huge effect on the actual share price of the stock itself. Now, a reason for this could be due to the fact that a lot of the trading these days has been done by computers and algorithms, so that a lot of the trading happens automatically. So whenever a particular company stock gets bought out a lot, there is an automatic selling algorithm that goes and sells off the stocks that have been purchased a lot on the same day. But overall, the trend of the Domino stock has been going upwards as well. However, there isn't such thing that even when the Dominos Pizza is included into the S&P 500, its share price didn't just magically shot up straight away. So as a point of comparison, I wanted to look at what happens to a particular company if they have actually been removed from the S&P 500 index. So this is the chart for Harley-Davidson, which is a very well-known brand, and they have been removed from the S&P 500 index back in June of 2020. So again, we see a massive spike in the trading volumes for Harley-Davidson. But again, we don't see a giant fluctuation in the price of the Harley-Davidson shares. If we look a little bit further to what happens after the company has been removed from the S&P 500, we can see that the share price kind of bounced around a bit, but actually increased over the couple months after they have been removed from the S&P 500 index, which means that a company being removed from the S&P 500 index does not mean that the company price will necessarily go down. What seems to have a greater effect was that Harley-Davidson have reported a significant increase in their latest earnings report, and that is actually what actually drives the company's share price up again. Another company that has been removed from the S&P 500 index this year is Nordstrom. So they were removed from the index in June of this year. And again, there is a huge increase in the trading volume. But again, there isn't a giant effect on the price of the particular company's shares. And after they've been removed from the S&P 500, their stock has gone into a bit of a decline, but recently it has gone up again. So just because you're in the index or not, it doesn't necessarily completely change how well your company shares is going to perform. I've also found an article that tries to look into whether or not there is an S&P 500 index effect. And contrary to popular belief, their results indicate that accounting for the firm's extraordinary pre-inclusion performance, the index inclusion itself has no permanent effect on the value and co-movement of the particular company's shares, which means that when the news comes out that a particular company will be added or removed from the S&P 500 index, there's usually a bit of a change in the share price, but it does not seem to affect the company's share price over the long term. And what tends to be more important is actually still the earnings and whether or not the company is doing particularly well. So the question is that should you buy Tesla? Now, if you currently already own an index fund that contains the S&P 500, you will already be owning Tesla stock in the near future. Now, Tesla is a very difficult company to analyze using traditional analysis methods, such as the intrinsic value calculation. If you purely look at their P/E ratio, they have a P/E ratio of over 900, which means that for every $900 that you put into the company, you will only get $1 back. And that is just a crazy, crazy high amount. As comparison, Amazon has a PE ratio of 90, and that is already considered as very high. So instead of just looking at traditional analysis methods, you may want to consider whether or not other investors are still believing in the company and they still want to put money to invest in the company. Now, if you do believe that other investors are still wanting to put more money into the Tesla, then it's perfectly fine to invest in Tesla as well. Now, if you believe that the Tesla is just completely overvalued, then you shouldn't invest in Tesla. I know that's a bit of a roundabout answer to whether or not you should buy Tesla, but that is the best answer that I can give right now. So I'll hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.